that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio
It's
station.
Love Jones. It's Love Jones. Check us out as we combine our hit music with a love story. Live with Candy. It's Love Jones. Call in and participate at 326-0271 on Global Radio 99.5 FM.
Ladies and gentlemen, Refugee Camp presents
For all relationships, for regrets, for disagreements, for breaking up and making up, for all those out there jonesing for love, it's Love Jones right here, right now on Global 99.5. Good morning.
Pet peeve?
Boy, have I got a few. My God.
Shelly, you agree when you'd be on the show today?
No, I got a list, bro. All right, before we do anything, this is the very best mix of R&B music, home of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. We're Global 99.5. Our contacts in the studio is 326-0272. Of course, you can text or WhatsApp at 812-1787. Watch us live on our global page, as well as later on down, you can check the video out on Love Jones Crew, and of course leave commentary and be a part of the conversation. You can always write in at lovejonescrew at gmail and very cool candy at yahoo. Morning, we missed you.
Yeah, I had to take care of some business. I had to travel, but I'm back. What's
I know
up?
how that is.
You look like you feel better, so that's good.
Looks can be very deceiving, my brethren.
Yeah, if you had what I had, that flu ain't playing.
Listen to me. My voice has come back. Yesterday, I asked Nate, I sounded like a hyena in the wild, like being chased by boars and cheetahs. And I was like, scrub.
So you didn't have a show yesterday?
I couldn't. I really, D came in, we were getting ready to go. And like you could only understand several utterings from my mouth. It just wasn't working. I had a headache, like my mind was going to be totally blown. You know, the weakness in the limbs. But listen here.
I don't play, huh?
What?
I don't play.
Listen, take them vitamin C's, D's, E's, and F's, and if you can find Z, deal with that as well. You don't want no part of this thing right here.
Done that, man. I know. I know what you mean.
Alexis was here. She said to say hi because she said her husband had it as well, and he got a bronchial infection from his.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had to go to a pulmonary specialist. Like this flu is not playing this strain, and you know, so be careful and be vigilant. I don't want anybody to get settled down. Yeah, I ain't trying to do that. No. So listen, today is Pet Peeve Day.
It sounds like you got some stuff you want to talk about.
I mean, it's a lot of stuff that's been put out there. It's I wish you watched Greenleaf. I'm going to turn you on to that because it's an interesting show. It's something that comes on OWN, and I'm not a fan of everything that comes on, but there are a couple of shows on there that have tickled my fancy. And Greenleaf, for some reason, I took to it. I typically don't like the Black American church-going type dramas, but this one is intrigue and, you know, some history in the church and lots of little secret things and you know, the history that has plagued the family and stuff. So I find it interesting. It's something like Queen Sugar, and it comes from really good writers like Miss DuVernay and stuff like that.
It's like is it a reality show or
no,
is it like a series?
It's like a written series,
okay.
But it has a few heavy hitters in there, but like some old school type actors, and it's just really it's a really good series. It started off with a great bang, and it's continued to keep me, and it's hard to do that. I lose interest pretty quick. So it's really good, but it's brought up a lot of different things as it pertains to Black people, religion, judgmental issues as far as people are concerned, the implementation of Black people and how they handle relationships, sexuality. It's a lot of different stuff that typically comes up in the episodes of the show. They've had an uncle that was in it, and they started off, the first episode, the pilot, was they were at a funeral for, you know, the head pastor or whatever. His daughter had died. And I think they're saying that she, in a way, committed suicide because her uncle had been molesting her for years, and many of the other young women in the church. And it had gone down because he was giving scholarships in the name of the church. So he's kind of paying them off for church money. So it's been bananas. It's just been,
Oh, that's interesting.
right? It's just been layers and layers
Yeah.
and layers. And as you peel back and you look at the history of how it happened to them within their own family, it slates a lot of the stuff that we face and that we talk about on a day-to-day basis, or people don't want to talk about. One of the scenarios that I found very interesting that's been unfolding on the show and that came to a head, so to speak, last night. Black couple living a pretty good life. It's kind of like, it's what you would typically see, let's say if it were Dallas, like a big family home, they've got money, class, and they're butlers and things like that. So typically it's not something that you would see portrayed as Black people living. So it's this church family. It's seeped in Southern roots, kind of like, and all of that. And it's these different Black couples, but this one in particularly, she's the singer of the family. She does like the choir work in the church and whatever. She's somewhat of the baby. So they've not taken her seriously for a long time. She's married to a pretty great guy, looks good, chiseled, all that. They get pregnant with twins. Everything seems to be going well. And then she sees that he's a bit preoccupied and she's trying to figure out what's going on. Is it fright because of the new responsibilities of twins and all that stuff? On the phone a lot, going to the gym. So, she kind of shrugs it off. But it comes to a point where there's a break in communication. So they start squabbling and she's like, okay, I can't be stressed out while I'm pregnant. You have to get out of the marital bed. So he starts sleeping down in the den or whatever. And she's saying, until you can tell me what it is, because I have a feeling there's something. It's nothing happening. So he comes to her one night and says, okay, let me tell you what's up. I haven't given him my phone because I've been checking out websites with men on it, but I've never dabbled. He said, I've confronted these things as a teenager, but I've never, ever, 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 I've never done anything. But, I'm trying to keep it at bay, but it's there. But I love you and I love these babies and this is what I want. But I just want to be honest so you understand the struggle. So she's like, went into the hospital, lost one of the babies, couldn't deal with it, still pregnant with the one baby. So he started going to these meetings where other men are there, other married men, mostly and predominantly African-American men. And they're talking about these kinds of, some have done so, others have not. And the desires and trying to tackle that and inviting their wives to come to understand what it is and try to build from that and deal with counseling. She refused to go. Her thing is, you are what you are. You can't change that. So he started taking Ipecac. Do you know what that is?
No.
Ipecac is something that you take and almost immediately it makes you nauseous. Like this feeling of disgusting, like you ate garbage and you bring, and so every time he has a thought, he takes the Ipecac to kind of, you know what I mean? Train himself psychologically that these thoughts are attached to something terrible. And so he'll get that nauseous feeling. So it's a way of psychologically training to dispel these thoughts. So his mom came to visit, come back in the home, with the baby, everyone's getting along. So here comes the time now. He's like, so when do you think we can make love again? And she's like, oh, well, not yet. So finally last night, he climbed in the bed and he was trying to kiss her all over and she started crying. And he's like, what's wrong? Like, is something so wrong with wanting to make love with your wife? She said, I can't do this anymore. This is over. This isn't organic. This isn't natural. I don't want you that way anymore. You need to be true to who you are. This marriage is done. So it was like,
and it ended there.
Look at you, you're like, what else?
Like, tell me more. Like, what happened?
I'm like, what? No, I'm not spoiling. This is what has come thus far, but it's a really good series. But we've tackled letters similar to this where people talk about it. Now, it just so happens that this one happens to be in reference to sexuality, but you see how it unfolds. And so the question that comes forward is she wrong? Because he's been doing everything in a sense right? He's gone to counseling. He's taken the therapy. He's trying to retrain himself psychologically. He's trying to be a father to the baby. He's going to church. He's training spirituality. Is she wrong or is she right? I know, right? It's kind of mind-boggling, but nonetheless, it's interesting because in this way, it's sexuality, but for other people, it's a lot of other things within their marriage. And then you try to put intimacy together with that. You try to make it natural, but she shut him down. She's like this.
It's hard to say what's wrong and what's right. I mean, it's hard to judge the situation, and I would say that because, just being on the show, you hear a lot about these things, and
right.
One instance we tell people to do what their heart tells you. We tell them to follow your heart, and the next instance we say, well, y'all need to work on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
it's a lot.
Yeah.
What would you say?
My problem with the whole instance is right. He had his problem.
Right.
She told him, "Come to me.
Right.
I will not be upset. We
Tell
will
me.
work this out.
Right.
Be honest with me.
Right.
Tell me." He come. He be honest. He provided solutions.
Right.
For them to fix it.
Right.
No, she won't go fall down and kill it.
Well, see, that's a viable argument, right? Because men will say that women ask for honesty. You say, "Come to me, tell me I'm your wife," right? "Be honest with me. We will talk it out together." You come, you say, "I've dabbled between," you get put out. You're asking for honesty. Like Nate said, he's providing solutions in order to keep the marital home together, just to be put out. So would it have been best that he kept the secret? Is honesty and truth really what has to be existing in a relationship, or are some secrets needing to be had? Call on the line. Pet Peeve Day. Thank you for calling Love Jones. What's good?
Listen, where Dervin is.
He's
Dervin.
not here, okay?
Okay, so I'm Dervin right now. Listen,
That's good.
that
Okay.
way,
That's bad.
first of all, okay, we talked about it the other day, right?
Yeah,
With the whole sex change issue,
right.
right? It's the same thing applies here. The dude won't be a hand. Let him do that. See, the thing is,
Here's the thing. Before you continue, is it the act itself? Okay, let me change it up. Suppose the scenario was this, right? Suppose the scenario was he thought about cheating. He's been on website. He's been looking at other women, but he hasn't done it. But he has enjoyed the thoughts of it. And he comes to his wife and say, "Look, I've been thinking about cheating. I've been on these different sites. I've been looking at other women. I've been on sites where I've been thinking about dating, but I have not done it. I just want to tell you that this is something that I'm struggling with fidelity." Would your answer be different?
In a situation like that, right? The fact that he came out like with cheating,
Right?
if in the event he said that, "Hey, babe, look, I feel like I want to cheat. You know, I have these thoughts of other women and all that stuff like that, right?"
Mm-hmm.
You could kind of work with that, because then now she could say, "All right, you know what? Let's see what it is. Why is it? What's so attractive about this for you? You know, why do you feel, what am I not providing?" Right? But when you talking about an instance of somebody who is a homosexual or lesbian or whatever, that's a psychological thing.
Well, what about bisexual? Because there's some kind of attraction to a woman. He's been with her. He's married to her. He wants to make love to her.
Yes, it's a mind thing, and the thing is that this is how people are. And so the thing is, again, I said to you all months ago before on another show, be true to yourself, be who you are. You know, yeah, society might not agree with what you do and how you do it, but if you are going to live a lie, if you are going to be in somebody's life living a lie, why be there?
Agreed, but what if who you are is duality? None of us is just one thing. Suppose he has these things and these desires, but he also have desires of being with his wife and having a family with her. Is it not possible?
Well, he needs to find somebody who is into being bi as well. He needs to find a woman who into man and woman as well. But the thing about so if that woman wants exclusivity to him,
right?
And I mean, a lot of women, that's what they want. They want this man to be exclusive to them. And so so he is just having thoughts of being with a man, or he was.
Yes, because, and see, his thing is, I've shown you the greatest love of all, because he was approached by another man that seemed to be interested. And he said, I cannot do that. I love my wife. I'm committed to my wife. I'm attracted to my wife. So regardless of these thoughts that dwell to the back of my mind, I am going to adhere to this commitment. So it's not as if opportunities did not serve, but his commitment and the overwhelming commitment to be with his wife and wanting to be that took precedence over anything else. Does that not count for something?
Me not like it. The boy them in the closet.
Well, not anymore. So
I don't know.
I'm saying it's a difficult situation. I get where you're coming from and being true to yourself, but a lot of times I think we forget that people are more than just one person or one thing. Sometimes people are different things to different people and even to themselves.
Right.
You know, so at what point as a spouse, as a committed partner, do you draw the line between acceptance of all of who you are and a dispelment of a portion of who you are because it affects me in an ill way?
I guess.
You see what I'm saying?
I guess now the fact that, because I didn't hear all of the conversation, so the fact that he did not commit the act.
No, never.
It's twisted.
Isn't it?
The fact that he didn't do it for the woman, the fact that he was honest with her and said that he has had these thoughts.
Right, and he's going to counseling, and he invited her to the meeting. I want you to come to the meeting so that you can sit and understand. I have never done so. He said he had one or two of these thoughts from he was a teen, but he in his mind, he still is more attracted to women, and he found this woman, and he's in love with her.
Okay, well, and that, see, and then this is another thing too. It's like, just like how you say, certain things in an instant like that, certain things you kind of, I guess you probably have to keep to yourself.
Right.
Because you remember the other day when y'all was talking about the spyware being put,
yes,
people tracking what their spouse or their maid is doing.
Right.
Certain things you aren't supposed to hear because not everybody like the conversations that we have inside our group.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Not the average person can't deal with some of the stuff that we talk about.
No.
Like if they were placed in that situation,
especially a spouse,
right? Especially logical and critical thinking. A lot of people can't deal with that because first of all, how you were brought up, your background and everything like that. Some people just can't deal with that. So it's like if you're in a situation with your mate. And this is why it's so important to be observant of everything that your mate does. And then this is another bad thing too, because then now when you're observant of what it is your mate is doing, and if you pick out things about them on a regular basis, then they jump up, oh, why are you watching me? What you watching me for?
Right.
Listen, man, I want to see who you are. I want to know who you are. I want to know your full being, So it's like, you have to pay attention to certain things and be like, okay, if she react like this to certain things, I can't tell her what's really on my mind.
And
because she'll go ballistic.
Right.
So certain things really and truly you have. The fact that he was approached by a guy.
Yeah.
And he said to that guy, listen, it's kind of, but I have this commitment that I have to be responsible.
That's it.
So therefore, yes, I am flattered. What?
So that was my thing. I get where she's coming from, but did he not adhere to his commitment? So where is his commitment from her?
Yeah.
You understand? He was going through all of these different struggles, as fidelity on the whole is, even for a heterosexual person. My God, fidelity is a very difficult thing to adhere to.
Candy, listen. I don't care who you are. You could be Pope John. No,
please. Let's look for a different reference. Thanks.
You could be the most holy and sanctified person on the planet.
Right.
If you have been in a sexual relationship with somebody, there are gonna be moments when you look at somebody like, boy, look, I want to deal with that.
Right.
Every single person, man and woman,
Correct.
whether they attracted the man, whether they attracted the woman, whether they attracted the both, if they're in a relationship,
Mhm.
there has been instances where every single person in a relationship has looked at somebody else with lust and said,
Of
hey,
course.
I wouldn't mind trying that out to see how it is.
Agreed.
Every single person. You know, and the thing about it is, I am also certain too that there have been people who, if they watching pornography and stuff like that, and they see, let's say, 2 women going at it, or 2 men going at it, or a transsexual going at it, or whatever. These are the things that are available on the websites right now.
Right.
And I'm sure that they've seen these things and they say, well, I wonder how that'll be.
Right.
A lot of these things that arise in the bedroom, a lot of these situations that arise in the bedroom come from internet exposure, you know.
Absolutely. Internet and media on a whole.
Because in most cases when a man comes to his woman, or a woman goes to her man and say, babes, I want to try that, I could guarantee you, most likely they saw something online, or
Yeah.
they heard something,
Mm-hmm.
and it drew their curiosity,
It
and it was like,
tantalized.
but you know what? And then that's when things start to go
All
haywire.
right. Yeah.
You
Agreed.
see what I'm saying? So yes, there are things that we have to keep to ourselves because our spouse can't deal with it. That's not being dishonest. That's not being deceitful. You're protecting that person because you love them. Now, if you go ahead and commit the act without, and you don't tell the person about it, that's when the dishonesty and the deceitfulness comes in.
Indeed. I think we're fooling ourselves if you ever think that you'll be the last person or the first person
Yeah.
that anyone you're
Nobody
with is
perfect.
ever attracted to. You
Nobody
understand what I
perfect.
mean? But I think
Yeah.
what makes us different is the fact that regardless of the outside attractions and temptations, you did as he did, and he adhered to the commitment aspects of it. I think that's
Right.
what the differentiating factors will be, you know.
Yeah.
But it's
So he did
it's-
his thing.
that's what
Anyway,
I'm saying, and
right.
and so
That's
my
my
thing
point.
is, I'm not saying that he's in a perfect situation, but it's a situation that he was faced with,
Mhm.
and he said, "Listen, all right, I got 2 choices here. I can make up something, or I could tell her whatever,
Mhm.
and that could kill that, or I could just tell her what it is." And I'm hoping as my wife that, and on top of that, as a quote unquote Christian,
Yeah.
that she can meet me halfway and she can say, okay, this is what we're dealing with. Okay, I can come to these meetings. Let me see before I shoot it down. Let's see how I could respect our commitment and what we put together as a marriage.
Right.
And instead of doing so, she tell him kick rocks.
Anyway, guys, I can talk to you later on.
All right.
All right.
So and that's what I'm saying.
I'm glad that was an actual letter. I'm glad that was.
Yeah, I can't fool with
Because
that.
we had to give.
It's heavy, but
Yeah.
I understand Nate's point. It's oftentimes we beg for communication in our relationships. We say, "Come to me, tell me, talk to me," and when you do it, you get pulled with rock.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You get the short end of the stick, and so it really causes people to shy away from the communication aspects of your relationship. And once that happens, all the rest of the ish about to hit the fan. And so if you don't encourage that, or you don't feel a place of comfortability within your relationship where you can be really honest about certain things, I don't know what the point is.
I think it's I think it's frustrating for him too.
Mhm.
Coming to her with it, it's like it's bothering him. Coming to her with it,
Right.
it's like me, right? Let's say my wife, I tell my wife, oh, well, I ain't a politician,
Mhm.
but I've been reading some legislation.
Right.
And then she get mad at me. It's like, oh, if you want to be a politician, you go be a politician. But it's like, I don't want to be a politician.
All I'm saying is
I just was into some laws.
I was reading up
I
on
read
it,
some
just
legislation and
trying to see what it was about. That doesn't mean that I want to delve into it.
Right.
I'm just saying that I was checking into it.
Isn't that part of our communication problem in marriage? I mean, even in relationships, where you bring up something or you start to talk about something and they judge you. You don't even listen to what you have to say right away.
They just heard key things that was said, and automatically they take that and they run all the way with it.
That's what you want to do.
Right. And it's like, okay, so in your mind, note to self,
Yeah.
never do that again.
Yeah. No, then that's what happens.
And that's what happens.
Yes.
And then that'll be the very person I guarantee, well, you don't talk to me and I feel like you keeping stuff. Well, duh. I'm keeping it and I'm not talking to you because you have closed the door
Yes.
of communication, at least open communication. You only want to talk about the things that are suited to you. And that does not make a relationship or a marriage. I'm
Right.
sorry. It has to be about the sometimes difficult conversations. And if you cannot have the difficult conversations, how the hell you gonna make it through the hard times in your life? This is a life partner who's supposed to be with you through thick and thin. But when the thick comes, okay, cool. When the thin things start to get a little wavery, they dip.
That's the problem.
I ain't into that. So you want me to be with you through your thick and your thin, but when mine come up, you dip? I can't go for that. Sorry. I ain't into that. And sometimes these tests in your relationships come to see if it really is meant to be. Because if you can't thug it out, then maybe you ain't supposed to be with them. My pet peeve of the day is, it's something that was posted. I can't remember who did it, whether it was LaFrance or Dervin. I'm tired of swimming oceans for people that wouldn't even cross over a river or a stream or something for me.
I think LaFrance.
Yeah, we're not deep, And that's in all your relationships in your life, not just your marriage or whatever. Even people that you call friends, you'll swim oceans for them, to save them, to help them. They wouldn't even, that puddle though. But these J's, this real leather, I can't really.
But
you can't come over
even
to
with
me.
friendship, people don't understand. Like, and take for instance, and I can get a little personal. Like when you text me this morning, when you call me, I didn't even see the text, but you call me. I was away.
Yeah.
And then you was like, so that's how we living? I don't know. That's how you came on the phone.
I can tell you how I said it. I said, so what happened? Did I give you some and it wasn't good? Because you cannot
right.
When a man sleep with a woman, it's not good and you don't call her back, you like dip the call. I was like, is that what happened? And I don't remember.
Right.
Yeah.
So and here's the thing, like, to me, I gotta recognize that that's a big deal for you as a friend. You see what I'm saying? Like I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I really should have called Candy and let her know that everything was okay, that I'm back and all that stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the thing is, our ideas of what being a friend is so different. But I'm saying,
because I thought about it before I called and I was like, I don't want the call to feel like, are you coming in? I don't want it to be that.
No.
I wanted it to be like, okay, so I give you a space to do your thing, but I hear nothing was good.
But of course, I called. I thought about it. It's like, okay, she's calling to see if I'm coming in. But here's the thing. I mean, the thing is, I'm invested in it, of course. So definitely, even if you said, listen, you know, today's Thursday. Even if you said that, I still wouldn't have thought nothing of it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But you just
I get it,
human,
but I'm saying even as human beings and even as friends, we tend to prejudge.
Right.
I'm sure the moment I picked up the phone and the phone rang, I had something in my mind, you had something in your mind, and it comes somewhere in the middle. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's just for friends. I'm saying when you're in a relationship, you expect the person to meet you halfway.
Right.
And a part of communication is not just about conversation, but like Pat was saying, learn your partner, get to know them. When I'm with someone, even in my friendships, I tend to try to be as observant as possible. I get to know who you are. So if you quiet and you look a certain way, I know something's wrong.
So we know that.
I
know. I really get that call. So listen, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, that's
what I
do.
appreciate that, you know.
And even if you don't want to talk about it, I'll still let you know, hey, I noticed, and when you're ready, I'm here. You know, some people are so far tuned out of their relationship, they don't even notice when the person going through nothing.
Yeah.
They don't notice when something's wrong. And then when the person leaves the relationship or the marriage, they get up scratching like, when did this happen? How did this happen?
Yeah.
You weren't paying attention. That's when this happened. All the times you weren't paying attention, all the times I said I needed, I wanted, you're not giving me. I need to hear. I need to be affirmed. All those times I said it to you and you ignored me. Those are the times I got more and more distant from you. And now I'm gone.
Yeah. But here's the thing. And I just thought about it. How could you be a true friend? When I say that, how could you be in a relationship if you don't know how to be a friend to somebody?
And there's that.
Because relationship starts out with friendship. It should be you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
One of the main things in a relationship.
But how many of us can actually say that our current relationship started off as a friendship? Or did you dive in with the automatic insinuations of being sexual or getting to that place of relationship?
Well,
we don't build. I mean,
we go. Especially,
yeah. I like to eat that up with some cornbread.
Yeah.
we don't build friendships in our relationships anymore. And that's the problem. Even if you look at someone and say, boy, I want to get into a relationship. Okay, that's cool. But we don't build friendships anymore. We don't get to know who it is that we're dealing with. We only want to get to know. And that's why I said duality in relationships is so important. We get to know them as a sexual partner. We get to know them as how they can contribute to our relationship situation. We don't get to know them as a person. What are the things that make you tick? What are the things that you love? What are you passionate about? We push that to the side, and that's why a lot of times we fail, because when the stuff gets rocky with the relationship, you don't have a friendship to fall on. And that's why it breaks up.
Yeah.
A friendship should be your foundation. Before you build into your relationship, I would say pour into a friendship foundation with whoever it is that you're dealing with first.
Let me ask you a question with regards to that. Like a friendship, we agree that I agree with a friendship should be the basis of a relationship. Let's say you're in a relationship, you've been in a relationship for quite some time, and you realize that you guys, friendships was one of the, it's difficult to establish a friendship within a relationship after you've gone through so many, I guess, stuff.
Yeah.
Non-relations. Is it possible, do you think, though, to reestablish a friendship or even establish one? Because a lot of relationships lack friendship.
Agreed. Ooh.
And what kind of mindset does it take to establish a friendship within a relationship that lacks it, or to even?
The problem is we as people, we tend to have a hard time letting stuff go. Let's be honest about it. We talk a lot about forgiveness. We talk a lot about letting stuff go and rebuilding, but we're not being honest. I mean, a lot of times the things that have happened within your relationship, we hang on to them, and they come back again and again and again. And those are the things, a lot of times, those fractures are what cause us to not be able to build the kind of friendship with our spouse that we want. So I'm not saying that it's impossible, but if it wasn't there before, I see it as damn near close to impossible. I think you can rebuild, but the kind of work that you're going to take to do it, some people don't survive it.
Because it's about, like you said, about letting go, and we're not willing to.
We're not willing to, because we would rather lose our friendships, we would rather lose our relationships and be right than to hold on to them and admit to wrong. And because of that, you end up on the losing end. What's more important? I was an a-hole. I own that one. Or to hang on to the things that you're right. Look at when you have an argument with your spouse or in a relationship. You're just waiting for them to finish to say, yeah, but when I did this and when I had that and this and that and the next. If you're so busy waiting to pounce on with all of your right factors, you're not listening to the things that they said. You talking, but y'all ain't communicating. That went out the window a little while ago.
Is it a need to be right?
Absolutely. We all suffer from it. Because if I'm right, that means I'm doing something that I'm supposed to be doing in a relationship.
Is it a need to be right, or a need to prove that you're wrong? And it's not the same thing.
I know it's not.
So what do you think it is?
To prove you're wrong. Because in most people's mind, if I can prove you wrong, more than likely that in my mind that equates to me being right. It's hard for some people. And see, that's why my pet peeve today is all about where to draw the line on certain things. For some people, that's their greatest thing. If I can prove that you're wrong, it doesn't matter if I'm right. But once I can prove that you're wrong, that reigns supreme, because now I kind of take a knock to your character. And it sounds really creepy because it's like, wait a minute, but you're in a relationship with this person. Why would you want to do any of those things? Unfortunately, it becomes a game of that way, for tit for tat.
Yeah.
Especially over an amount of time where you've established that game. You're right, I'm right. You're wrong, I'm wrong. It becomes tit for tat. So you don't grow anymore. It's just about, you're it.
Remember we had a show about keeping score?
Yeah.
How do you feel about keeping score now? Seriously, how do you feel about that?
No, I'm laughing not because it's funny. We do it. I just did it yesterday. Me and my people got into it. And in my mind, I might as well get paper.
That's what I'm saying. When
I might as well have done it. Guilty. I have no problem with saying it. We got into it. And in my mind, I am simmering, and I was like, Oh, you talked to me that way that time, this time. And then when you said that, well, that really bugged me. Dun, dun, dun. I literally started to take a mental notation of all the different things that I was hurt in this relationship, all the times I was upset, all the times he didn't say I'm sorry. And in my mind, I'm like, wow, you're hanging on to all that crap. You understand what I'm saying? In your mind, yeah, let it go, but you're not. And so when it comes to the surface again, that's exactly what you do, and you keep in scores of all the times you've been upset, and you're not as likely to forgive. You're not as likely as to want to mend, and you keep adding to that. There's going to come a time when you don't forgive anymore, and you don't care about mending it anymore, and that's when the love doesn't matter anymore. So you got to figure out what's more important to you. Do I want to be right, or do I want to be in love with this person, and do I want to make it work? But the two of you have to have that mindset, because if it's just you letting it go, they're still hanging on. So you still ain't going nowhere. You still ain't building nothing.
And the sad thing about it is, if you don't learn to let go and you learn to deal with these issues, when you get the next relationship, the thing's going to repeat itself. You're taking it with you, but the same thing's going to repeat itself.
Because you don't do anything different or better.
Wow.
You don't do anything different. You don't do anything better.
And that's why I'm amazed at the rate of, that's why I'm amazed at the rate of second and third divorces are higher than first divorces.
Yes.
Because people
not only that, man, come out my mind. Probably shouldn't say that on air.
I trying to think.
I probably shouldn't say that on air. But here's the mentality a lot of times too, when people get into second marriages, right? And even thirds for a lot of people. They're like, yo, if I can let that first one go, you know what I'm saying? I was married to in 12 years, 14 years, 15 years. If I was married to somebody for that amount of time and I let that go, judge you that I've been married to for 5 years. It becomes, for us, people become easier to replace, to let go. Sounds bad, but it's true. If you had a favorite car, Lord, I sound like D, and you used to drive this particular car. I don't mean it like he means it though. But let's say you had a Porsche and this was like your car, your favorite car. It was a thing of luxury for you. Uh-huh. And something happened and you had to sell it. That hurt you, but because you had so many fantastic memories in that car and you let it go, yeah. And you've attained another car. If you could let the Porsche go, you know, the Tesla, whatever else it is that comes along, it becomes easier. You become detached and it just becomes a thing. And a lot of times that's what the people in our life become. That's what the relationships in our lives become. That's what our friendships become. Yeah. Easier to let go. You hear people say, man, I lost friends before. I lost loves before.
But we're told to let go in order to be happy.
You see what I'm saying? People tell you that you have to love with detachment. But is that what really love? Isn't love an attachment?
That's what.
Yeah, I know that's it. You need a t-shirt. I agree that you should never give everything. But how do you know that you're really invested if you don't let go and be? If you don't attach yourself, how do you know it's even worth it? So for
you, what does the term let go means?
In what regard?
In regard to relationship, friendship, because we're told to, in order for you to be happy, you have to be able to let go. In relationships, you have to be able to let go. You have to let go of things that have happened. Mm-hmm. And I think there's so many mixed messages with regards to even that, letting go.
Yeah.
In terms of relationship, friendship. And I don't know if you're understanding where I'm coming from. So like for you, what does, in terms of happiness, in terms of being in a successful relationship and being in a happy relationship, a fulfilling friendship, a mm-hmm. happy friendship, mm-hmm. what does that term let go mean to you?
For me,
in times of trouble, in mm-hmm. times of a long-lasting relationship, mm-hmm. what does let go mean?
I've had to learn a lot of lessons with letting go, because I'll be honest, I am the kind of person, I have memory like elephant. I ain't gonna lie. And I had a problem with letting stuff go. For me, what it is now as to letting go is this. Not necessarily not remembering them, but it's what I choose to gather from it. So if someone has offended me or hurt my feelings in a friendship or a relationship, I don't want to hang on to the nasty feelings towards them. I want to figure out okay, this happened. How could we not have this happen in our friendship again? How can this not happen again? How can we do things differently? I choose to see it in a particular way rather than hang on to the nastier stuff that goes along with it. Instead of seeing this person as, I just choose to see people as human beings that make mistakes. And that wasn't always the case for me. My thing was, you're not allowed to be this way because I'm not that way towards you. You don't get to be that way towards me. And I have to understand that not everybody's built the same. You have to give people the space to be who they are in your lives and to serve the purpose that they serve in your life. And that doesn't always mean being the perfect friend. Sometimes the best things come out of people that are most imperfect, and so just acceptance of imperfections of yourself and other people. That's my meaning of letting go. That's rough.
No, it is because like I said, there's so much mixed messages about any and everything. I mean, and we talk about us being cognitive people, and we just look for answers. And the first thing that we hear, or the first thing that we read, or the first meme that we get, we believe that, or we see that, and we apply that to our lives. You know what I'm saying? And gone are the days, not gone are the days, but I mean, I believe people are getting a lot more conscious now. But it's so harder now to be the amount of issues, emotional attachments, emotional detachments, the financial issues that people are going through.
Let me give you an example. The question that I asked on our Facebook page this morning was, where do you draw the line between contentment, being satisfied in your present, and settling? Is it the same? It's different. It's different words, but isn't it all the same?
Where do you draw the line between
contentment, satisfaction in your present, and settling? Settling. See, a lot of times it's what you say that can either bring the derogatory with it. See, because if I say to you, you've become content, you're content in your life. Doesn't it sound like rainbows and sunshine?
Yeah, it sounds because even the conversation we had with Alexis,
exactly.
We chose to use the word contentment instead of happy.
We use the word contentment because there are certain tones that go along with the word contentment. If I say you've chosen to settle, that changes things.
That changes that you accept, and we accept it. We accept the negative.
We choose to see settling more so as more of a negative.
Right.
But isn't it almost the same thing as being contented? This is my situation. I cannot change the situation. It's outside of my power. So I became okay with it. There are certain things that we choose to use to say that automatically have negative tones to it.
Right. And because we use the word settling.
As a derogatory sense, as a negative. But when we want to say it in a better way, we say we're contented, we're good, we're okay.
Yeah.
But it isn't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's why I asked the question to challenge thought. What's the difference? Where do you draw the line to say this is contentment and right past that line is settling?
Yeah, because when you use the word settle, that means you had no choice.
Exactly. Automatically, that's what comes to your mind.
You didn't have a choice.
I couldn't do nothing else with it, so I just deal up with what I got before me.
Right.
Contentment means there could have been other things, but I choose to sit here in relaxed state. And that's not necessarily all what it is. Right. Sometimes contentment comes through knowing that there is nothing more that I could do or nothing different that I could do. And I have settled, the difference is in my mind, I've just become okay with it and I've learned to be happy with the circumstances. Settling means I dealing with this for now, but if something better come along, at least for some people, that's how they take it. So a lot of times it goes back to perception and acceptance of what the message is.
Perception.
It'll always be one of the biggest players.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. A lot of people are walking around, a lot of people are in stuff and you keep saying, boy, my friendships ain't working. I get into these different businesses, they flop. I keep every year I in 2-3 different relationships that's not working, and you'll hear some people come out of their mouth and say that's because I have standards. I want good things. You ain't never hear that? People tell me that's because I have standards. These people can't deal with no woman with standards. and you only could laugh because it's like, is that really what it is? Come on, let's be. If you gonna be with it, let's be real about it. Is it standards? Is standards being this? Is it the same thing as being choosy, picky, or is it not being able to see the deficiencies in yourself and changing those
Well, of course,
things?
it's,
And you
automatically
choose
when
to
you
say
said
to
that,
other
I'm like,
people,
yeah, Mary working that.
yeah.
That's what I go to.
I just call it the fairy tale syndrome.
Yeah.
Like I just look at people and be like, "Oh, you ordered one, didn't you?" And they be like, "What you talking about?" Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest? And your mirrors be like, "You girl,
That's what I said.
you." And so therefore, you don't see nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
A lot of people are in friendships where they always will tell you what their friends didn't do, couldn't do, didn't step up for them. They never see the inadequacies of they themselves as a friend. They never see the fact that they are takers and this person is burnt out and they're not doing anything to replenish the things that they've taken. In relationships, we're facing the same things. They always can tell you what's wrong with their spouse, what wasn't done, how they've never been helped, all of those things, but they refuse to look in the mirror and say, I've been inadequate in almost every area that I complain about as well. And I refuse to step up, so therefore I can beat you with the stick because I ain't into dealing with my own.
Yeah. No, you said it. You said it.
That's a pet peeve I've got. If you're going to complain about something, listen, if I complain about something, I then open the door for you to say, here's my situation and the problem I got with you.
Yeah.
If you ain't prepared to get back what you give, then shut up.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree.
So,
We don't like to look in the mirror now.
No.
We don't like to accept responsibility for what we brought into the relationship, we put into the relationship, what we bring to the relationship.
or what we fail to put in.
You know, and that's sad. We just see
Indeed.
the other person as complaining and and that's why I feel it's so important that you have to keep score sometimes.
So is it good to keep score?
You have to.
See, I think again, that's probably it's
sometimes
probably
you have to
what we
remind
say.
the person. You have to remind them. I mean, we see it, and it goes back to perception.
Yeah.
So if you and I in a relationship, and I'll be like, listen, we have an issue. And I'll be like, you remember I did this? I tried to show you that this or that, whatever. This is what I tried to prove to you, whatever. You might be a person who'd be like, well, you throwing that in my face?
Exactly. Exactly. And see, that's it again. I agree that sometimes you're in with people and you got to remind them, hey, now hold on a second. You keep saying, like, you ever been in a relationship with someone that say you don't do nothing for me? Boy, I used to hear that. You never do nothing for me. And you left a gate like, all right, so when I gave you my kidney, I guess that was a no big deal.
All
right, so
I guess
when I put my house up for bail, I guess that was a no big deal.
Right.
So I've come to realize that some people, though, no matter what you do for them, you've never done anything for them. You know what I mean? So in a way, I can understand what you're saying about keeping score, but to me, I think it's about how you say it. So for me, it would be reevaluation. And sometimes you really got to sit people down and say, listen, I don't know if you remember, but I've had your back. I've been loyal to you. I have done good things for you. And let me remind you of a couple of them, because you keep talking as if I've brought nothing to this relationship. I bring nothing to this friendship. Let me remind you of some of the things I indeed have. What have you? And if you've brought, then you should have no problem with that question being posed to you. See, you only fear it when you know that you've not been doing your part.
Right.
That's the only time you fear those kinds of conversations.
Right.
If you know you've not done your part, or you know that you've been lacking, that's when you used to be like, you talking, but you're still bringing nothing. I'm not hearing anything.
And it's amazing how we let people feel as if, like, we give people the right. If you, let's say you and I, we are having this conversation, and I hate, that's my pet peeve,
right?
When someone make you feel, and I've seen it before, not in a personal situation, not in my situation, but I know a couple where the guy does everything he does. He tries his hardest to please his family and his wife. And then when he talks to his wife, she says, well, you don't do enough. And he believes he doesn't do enough now.
Yeah. Listen, Psychologically, whether people believe it or not, sometimes it is done with intent, because the less I can make you feel, then the better leg up I have in the relationship. Because with that being that way, you always feel as if you have to do more and more and more and more and more. And guess what? The more you do, that puts me in a position with less I have to do.
Right.
And we do buy into it. When you've heard something so many times and so often, you believe it. Even in your most logical mind, differently. Being emotionally tied in for someone that you love and care about to say this to you so often, you say, boy, this must be the case. And you eat that, you breathe that, you live that. And it's the very thing that destroys you,
Yes.
as well as your
No,
relationship.
you're right. You're right. They're like I said, I know a couple and they're now separated. He moved out because he just got
Tired.
He got tired.
Yeah.
He got tired. She's pregnant now.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to come back.
Who would want to be in a situation like
He
that?
doesn't want to come back. And I'm like, and then she comes to me. She's like, well, can you do something? I'm like, but the man is doing whatever he wants to do. And here's the thing, they have 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
One is his. The last one.
Wow. And it's that.
And now she's like, what can I do? I'm like, what can you do?
But
You
see,
pushed them away.
And I was just going to say, that's how it usually is. Oftentimes, and I said that, and I know people are going to have a problem with me saying it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Oftentimes, you see persons that give are paired with takers. I don't know if it's the whole law of opposites attracting, or obviously if you're giving, someone that likes to take is going to come along. But oftentimes that's what happened. And unfortunately, I want people to understand, even though it may be within your nature to be a giver and it's in the others to be a taker, at some point, the giver gets tired of giving. I don't want people to get it twisted, not because you love to do something or you enjoy something or it is a part of who you are, it's ingrained in you. Doesn't mean that you get tired of expressing, expensing, and dispensing the energy behind that. You need to feel like you're giving, yes, but you're giving to a worthwhile cause.
There you go. And it goes back to that.
It's
love
like
language,
a philanthropist, someone that gives and gives and gives to their community and do, but if they feel like it's not appreciated.
That's it. If you don't say thanks.
Yeah. I don't care how much they love doing that or what the title says, they're going to stop doing it.
Definitely.
And I agree. It's also a peeve of mine in a relationship. Not because I enjoy giving, not because I enjoy pampering, not because I enjoy doing certain things, meaning that I don't expect at some point to get those things in return.
Yeah.
It's what boosts me and rejuvenates me to want to continue to do.
Yeah.
And people typically do not stop in relationships until the other person is completely tapped out and burnt out. And then they're like, well, what happened? And they're like that guy. They leave.
Yeah, he's done, man.
And if you hear her tell the tale, she was deserted and left to hang to dry. Watch her tell the tale.
I've heard
Leave me here with 5 children and pregnant. I know. That's how people go.
And here's the thing. She wants to take him to court to get child support for the other 4 kids.
Why not? She's a taker. Where you expect her to stop taking? And it is her fault, but in a way we have to own it. You have to cease. If you see that your actions are not bringing anything to the table someone doesn't appreciate, you got to stop giving it. You got to stop giving it. Because you continue to do that and woe be for the other person that comes along. You're not going to want to switch seats. F this giving thing, babe. And I get the idiot end of the stick for that. I can become a taker. And that's how we end up now. A lot of people are in relationships and they're twisted.
Yeah.
They didn't always be like that. They weren't always that way. But there's that person. All right, it's almost that time. So Clara says, to your question of building a friendship after the relationship, Mikey, I think you need to find out what each other likes and then spend time learning each other. Schedule sex for certain times so it doesn't traumatize the man, but hang out and get to know each other. I got you, Clara. All right, that's cool. That's cool indeed. You know, to me, it's about reevaluation.
Oh, definitely.
And I made up in my mind for me personally, and that's something that I would advise other people to do. Reevaluate, because when you don't do that, something happens and it continues to happen, and even though you're keeping score, your score sheet is as long as your arm, and the other person is benefiting, they're kind of pedaling along, going with it, and then you get superlatively angry and upset with them. But is it primarily their fault, or is it the fact that you continue to give even though it was not appreciated? You have to learn to voice that. I'm feeling some kind of way. I feel like I'm pouring into you. I'm pouring into this relationship, and you're not doing the same for me. And unless you get with the program and you give me what I'm giving to you, it doesn't have to be the same way. I realize men and women love differently, but I still need to feel that love. I still need to see that love. And in whichever way you choose to give that, or your interpretation is, I still need to see something, because the less you give, the less I want to be here right now.
Yeah.
And the less I want to be here, the more you push me out the door.
Ain't that something, eh?
People need to get it. Seriously. There are a lot of people that are having really great persons in their life. She had a really good dude by her side. Now, I don't know all the intricate details, but from what I've heard, she had a great guy by her side, and still nothing was ever enough. A lot of people right now have a great person by their side, and they're still not satisfied. Quality. You have to look at the quality of what you have. And if you're truly deserving of that, and if you're not, you got to step your game up so you become qualified.
Yeah.
Else you're going to end up losing. You know,
Message.
Big time.
Message.
Big time.
Message.
So that's our pet peeves for today.
Yeah.
Another pet peeve I have is with my solid producer. You see that? He just ups and he skidats.
Who you signed a timesheet?
That's what happened now. He was keeping score, and I didn't. I score him yesterday, so he dipped.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Then
then
that
it's that. Yes, you know you do that.
I can't. Well, that's another show. I think this was a good one. Start to reevaluate. And if that language is keeping score for you, if that means, you know, bringing a person back down to planet Earth so that they understand what's really happening versus what they think is happening in the relationship, then that's something that you need to do. Because if you don't open your mouth, then it will continue on as it always has. Just let it be known, if you decide that this is something that's no longer for me and you walk away, at least give the other person, whether deserving or not, the opportunity to do better. And if they do not take you up on the opportunity to do better, then you know what it is that you need to do. If there's a welcome mat outside your door, people will continue to wipe their feet on it. If you
Definitely.
remove it, then
Yes.
there's not there.
Yeah. Boundaries, eh? Oh, that's another show though.
Child.
Hey, let's just love things. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm getting to that place that leaves you making you say, But that's another show. And I thank you for all of our Facebook watchers that have been tuning in. Of course, you can go on Global Side as well as Love Jones Crew, and you can watch it a little bit later. You can key in and continue to write to us via text or WhatsApp at 812-1787. Write those letters, keep them coming in at lovejonescrew@gmail, as well as Very Cool Candy at Yahoo. And of course, like I said, you can always call in afterwards. We've had some people that call in, they didn't want to call while on air.
Oh, for
And
real?
you can have a conversation, 326-0272.
All
It was a
right,
pleasure
cool.
having you
Yeah,
in.
man, definitely.
Again, ready
Definitely.
to, how's that go, man? When he's a fluffy superhero, you got to do two jobs. I got to move from here as host, and
And then
I
you
got to
gotta
go
go
over there
do
and
engineer.
produce and engineer and thing.
Well,
How's that go?
I mean, I would like to think I'm a superhero too. I mean, the fluffy part,
What's,
no,
what's
but
no, you ain't got the fluffy piece. So what's your super? What's your
well, I gotta go do my 9 to.
working 9 to
Yes.
5? You ever see that? Now let me tell you the kind of friend I am. You remember watching 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton?
Long time.
I
long,
have-
long time ago.
You see what they do with old boy when he was carrying on? They tie him up and run the office. Call me if you need that. Man. I can tie your buddy up. Unless you're the buddy that has.
But we can't. I'll tell you off air what I need you to do.
Okay.
Yeah, we can discuss that on air. All right,
It's
cool,
no
babes.
problem.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
Global Radio 99.5 FM. Best mix of R&B and home of the